Working Man Radio.
Your soul is dog.
That's right.
You're an emotional fucking.
That's right.
I don't know any more than what I'm telling you, other than I lie. I flat out freaking lie.
That's right. It's time for Rush Limbaugh's Lie of the Day.
Every single thing about you is ugly.
Benghazi. How do you beat them? First, let's watch what they do. Listen to Limbaugh.
4 Americans died needlessly. And at the end of 10 months, 11 months, nothing. Nothing to see here.
Right, because there is nothing to see here. Right? And he says, oh, well, you know, nobody cares. The media's not covering this, but it was a tragedy and it could have been prevented and nothing was done to stop it. And plenty was done once it happened. Plenty was done. And of course, also, it was foreseen. They'd heard. He said, watch, he says, they knew. They had reason to suspect. That was the sentence. They knew. They had reason to suspect that it was coming. Well, which one was it, Mr. Limbaugh? Did they know or do they have reason to suspect? By the way, have you heard any evidence they knew this attack was coming? I haven't heard that from anywhere. Let me tell you an attack they did have reason to suspect. The 9/11 attacks, that's the original 9/11 attacks, the ones that happened in 2001. George W. Bush got a memorandum on August the 6th, 2001 that said, the title of the memorandum was, terrorists determined to attack targets inside, to use airplanes to attack targets inside the United States. And it was handed to George W. Bush. It was put in his hands. We know that it was not delivered. We don't know. There's no question about whether he actually got it. He got it. He got it, and he said to the person giving it to him, all right, you've covered your ass. What does that mean? Yes, I see the report. Now I'm going to disregard it, but don't you worry. That's what happened. Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? If you use that, they're already prepared to just blow that off. They're prepared to blow that off. So I got something better for you. This one will catch them flat-footed. They won't see this one coming. Do you know how many terror attacks how many terror attacks there have been on U.S. diplomatic facilities since Barack Obama was sworn in January of 2009? You know how many times? It's more than one. It's 5. There have been 5 attacks on U.S. diplomatic facilities in various places, of which, the result of all 5 attacks is an aggregate total of 13 people killed. That's everybody. I suggest that you just say 13 people and let the person who's listening to you conclude whatever he wants, because if you let him know that any of those people weren't Americans, he won't care because he doesn't care about any of those people. But it was a total of 13 people who were killed. And in fact, we know it was four of those 13 were Americans, including our ambassador. How many terror attacks were there under George W. Bush? Do you know that? I do. There were 12, including 2 attacks on the same facility in Yana, I don't know how you pronounce it, YANA', Yemen. 2 attacks on that consulate, and, wait a minute, 3 attacks on the U.S. consulate in Karachi, Pakistan. Not 1, 3. Now, if there's 1 attack, that kind of puts you on notice that maybe you might want to beef up your security. Maybe you want to keep a little closer eye, because that's clearly a target. There are clearly people in that country targeting you. There were 3 attacks, and in the 3rd attack in 2006, a U.S. diplomat named David Foy, he was not the ambassador, but a U.S. diplomat named David Foy was killed. Do you know how many total people were killed in the Bush administration attacks, the 12 Bush administration attacks? You got me? 5 under Obama, 12 under George W. Bush. 13 dead under Obama. How many dead under George W. Bush? 60. 60 people were killed in 12 terror attacks under George W. Bush's presidency. Here is your answer. Here is your response. Here is what you say. You don't have to hear anything except Benghazi. You're at the water cooler. You're on the loading dock. Somebody says, Benghazi. If anybody says Benghazi, if you hear Benghazi crossing somebody's lips, he's a flying monkey Limbaugh listener. Nobody else talks about this but them. But he's talking about it. And let me tell you something else. If he's talking, there are people around who don't listen to Rush Limbaugh. They're listening, and if they don't hear anybody else talking but him, they think that his opinion is much bigger and more important than it is. And by the way, his opinion is big and important because there's a lot of people that think like him. But if nobody ever speaks up against him, they think that nobody disagrees with him. That's why you have to respond to these guys. That's why the rule is never let a flying monkey express an opinion that you do not oppose. Ever, anywhere. Are you at Thanksgiving dinner table? Because those guys will mouth off anywhere. Are you at a Thanksgiving dinner table and do you hear that crap at your Thanksgiving dinner table? You gotta speak up. Everybody's got to know, listen, this guy's not the only guy with an opinion here. And you have to let them know he's wrong. The important thing, it's not that there's a disagreement or a difference of opinion. The important thing is that he's wrong on the facts. You've got to prove that he's full of doo-doo. And here's how you do it. You hear the word Benghazi cross his lips? I've got it. You just ask him a question. Did you ever once voice any objection? Did you ever once demand an investigation into? Did you ever once criticize or question the Bush administration about the 12 terror attacks on U.S. embassies that killed a total of 60 people? When did you object to those terror attacks, on all those 12 terror attacks killing 60 people? When did you object to those? And he will, I don't know what he'll say. If he simply answers the question, he will say never. Do you want to push him? And whatever he says from that point on, you may then say, sir, you know what? You got nothing to say. You got nothing to say that we need to listen to. Because you're not outraged over this for any, you're not even outraged about this. You weren't outraged then, and you're not outraged now. You're just a partisan hack. You're just a flying monkey robot listening to Rush Limbaugh. You probably don't even know about those 12 terror attacks because Rush Limbaugh neglected to tell you about them. And if he doesn't tell you about it, you don't know about it. Yes, I'm serious. Get aggressive, get in their face, embarrass them, and make them look like idiots. Do it. Because it's a cold civil war, people. And there is no pushback. These people are out in the community. They're at work. They're sitting around the Thanksgiving dinner table. They're sitting at the bar at the Labor Day barbecues coming up. And every chance they get, they spout Limbaugh crap. And nobody's talking back. I say let's heat it up. Let's let the verbal civil war begin. They don't talk where you don't talk back. I'm Joe Lyles. We'll see you.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
You've been listening to Working Man Radio with Joe Lyles at joelylesradio.com.
Your soul is gone.
They lie. The Rush Limbaugh, lie of the day, 5 days a week at JoeLylesRadio.com.
Every single fucking thing about you is wrong.